hard as it is to believe, once upon a time there were very few roles outside of homemaker, housewife, for women in this country. Today on Exploring Bethlehem, we're going to talk about a woman who was kind of unique because she broke ground. And in the midst of all of the urban change going on in South Bethlehem, right in the middle of it all, is this little bank building which is celebrating its 100th birthday. It's the last remaining tangible evidence of the bank that was created by the Gosztonyi family.
The Gosztonyi Savings and Trust represents the Eastern European immigrant community's financial investment in America and the singular vision of a woman determined to continue and expand her husband's legacy. The bank building at 530 East 3rd Street, Bethlehem, was constructed around 1922, well into the evolution of the Gosztonyi family's successful business. Few immigrants catered to the needs of the foreign-born population in the early 20th century as ably as the Gosztonyi family. John Gosztonyi, family patriarch, emigrated from Hungary to the United States in 1884, settling in South Bethlehem in 1892. An entrepreneur, he founded a Slovak-language newspaper, opened a general store and operated a boarding house for other Eastern European immigrants. He also served as a translator for the local court system and was the first Slovak to win an election in the Bethlehem area, as a delegate to the State Democratic Convention. John's fluency in 6 languages as well as a number of dialects likely made his social and political achievements possible. His most lasting enterprise was the private foreign exchange bank he created to serve Eastern European immigrants living in the Bethlehem area. The bank was an outgrowth of John's boarding house, which lodged immigrants working at the zinc and iron mills in the area. Boarding houses were common at the turn of the 20th century, because new immigrant laborers without families, lacking English language skills and an understanding of local culture, depended on more established immigrants, often their landlords. Gosztonyi's foreign exchange bank sold steamship tickets, wrote domestic and foreign money orders, and served as a financial agent to boarders and other Eastern European immigrants in the community. Money remaining after room and board was deducted from wages was often sent back to family in Europe or saved for a transportation package, ticket, visa and emigration permission for wives or family members. John's partner in many of his endeavors was his wife Rosalia, known as Rozi, a Czech immigrant who spoke 5 languages. After John's death in 1905, Rozi continued operating the boarding house and its financial services from the family home. She was even more successful than John, focusing on the growing bank that was giving her family stability. Her eldest son Charles graduated from nearby Lehigh University with a degree in engineering in 1910 and went on to work as a superintendent at Bethlehem Steel, which had become the dominant employer in the area. By 1912, Rozi moved the now full-time bank out of the family's home and into a newly acquired building. When she took the bank public in 1918 as the Gosztonyi Savings and Trust, she became its president, probably the first female bank president in Pennsylvania. Charles soon resigned from Bethlehem Steel to work for his mother. By 1919, Rozi was ready for another expansion of the business. She acquired new land and commissioned Allentown-based architect Tilman Moyer to design a neoclassical revival stone building to be located directly across from Bethlehem Steel's company offices. Moyer was a successful regional architect specializing in banks. The building he designed for Rozi is featured in his 1924 book Building the Bank for Business. Rozi and the family continued to operate their bank until they were forced to sell following the economic crash of 1929. At the start of the 1930s, they were able to pay only 50 cents on every dollar deposited in the bank. After a 1934 reorganization failed, the family sold the business to People's Bank of Bethlehem. The building continued to operate as a bank branch under various names until 1996, when it was converted into offices for the National Museum of Industrial History. In 2015, the building was converted again, this time for use as a restaurant and distillery, the Social Still. The renovation returned the open main space, exposed decorative ceiling trim and other original features that had been hidden, and retained distinctive details such as the bank vault, which now serves as a small private dining room. This successful new use for the building was made possible in part by the Federal Historic Preservation Tax Incentives Program for the rehabilitation of income-producing historic properties. The tax credit program is one of the nation's most effective historic preservation efforts, encouraging the reuse of buildings, generating jobs, enhancing property values and supporting community revitalization.
Bethlehem.